Good morning, class. For my discussion form 4, based on my research paper, I'll be talking about the George Washington Spiring and how it affected the American Revolution. Just for a quick synopsis, the George Washington would gain experience in the espionage mission while serving with British forces in the French and Indian War, when he was tasked to gain intelligence from the natives about the French. Upon injecting himself into the American cause, he knew the value of military intelligence from the outset and needed to outperform the British immediately. One example that's in the paper is the Culper Spiring, which you may or may not have heard about. It was instrumental. It was an instrumental portion of the Washington Spiring, where two military officers, disguised themselves as a father and son figure, and were able to infiltrate British forces in New York City. Some of the important information that came out of this Culper Spiring was a British plan to attack a French fort that was being built in Newport, Rhode Island, as well as plans for the British to start printing American currency. That way they can buy things in the colonies and also inflate their economy. They also were the ones that ousted Benedict Arnold when he decided he was going to surrender the American forces to the British, which is why we know now as Benedict Arnold as the traitor based on his actions. All this came out of the Spiring. The genius part of the Washington Spiring is that after the Culper Spiring, he realized that military officers were not the best tools to use in order to gain information, because they were very high-profile figures and were already well known in the British ranks. So he shifted to using civilians, specifically women. Women were never thought to be a part of the war effort specifically, right? There's some stories about them, but typically they were trusted more by the British regulars who were in the area. He needed to do this because the British were better trained, they were better armed, they were better logistically supported. And he would have to call upon the strength of the American people, essentially the rebels, in order to defeat the British. Some of the things that he used were the sharpshooters, the American sharpshooters depicted in movies such as like The Patriot, as well as guerrilla warfare tactics, right? The whole rank and file movement. The British perfected that kind of warfare, and the Americans had not, so they needed to find a different way. One of the ways that he did this was through espionage. The Spiring eventually would find the British outsmarted and outmaneuvered. Washington positioned his troops in a manner that they were always waiting for the British. There was never really a surprise attack by the British after the Spiring was being developed and being enacted, which ended up resulting in an American victory. There was lots of American battles that the intelligence was used in order to better position troops and have landing forces or coordinate with the French Navy in order to prepare for the British, such as like Yorktown, the final battle. The stories of the Spiring have been immortalized and borderline romanticized in pop culture, in books, movies, art, and even famous television shows, which I'm sure many of you have seen. There is a growing interest in the subject matter, but none that truly portrays the importance of this group towards the outcome of the war. Therefore, my thesis for this project is that the George Washington Spiring was the main factor in ensuring American victory, and without it, there would be no American victory. The Americans had every disadvantage on their side except for the Spiring, and using the intelligence, they were able to enhance their fighting. And I will also talk about how the legacy that the Spiring has left to intelligence agencies that we know today, and some of the things that were left behind by Washington. Thank you for watching.